All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming over for the last session of KubeCon. I hope you guys, everyone enjoyed the first KubeCon India so far. The last 2 days has been pretty exciting. Today, I'm going to talk about scaling private LLM model services with Kserve and Model Car OCI on Kubernetes. So before we get into the talk itself, let's make this last session a little more interesting. Let me know if you all can see this on the screen. If you all can see, take your phone out. You can scan that QR code or just go to menti.com, menti.com, and just type in that code, 62583847. Quick exercise. Let's say I wanted to see who you are, and we can talk through a little bit about things which you are doing right now with AI ML. So we'll take a few seconds to go through this. We have platform engineers, DevOps engineers, developers, few AI ML engineers here. That's great. And there is possibly a few data science engineers. That's great. Awesome. So for the first one, I'm taking a few more minutes so that everybody can bring up their phone and join this quick polling. I'll go to the next question. So we have a mix of developers, platform engineers, DevOps engineers, which is very common in Kubernetes world, right? And now we are seeing more SREs, AI ML engineers, and some data science engineers are also interested in what's happening in Kubernetes with ML and AI. Next question. What are some of these, which of these terms have you heard of before or in the course of KubeCon India or even earlier? Any of these terms which you're aware of, using? Right? I believe everybody at this point know what large language models are. That's great. We have few people who know LoRa adapters. That's great. VLLM engine, pretty solid, pretty strong engine, which can do large language model inferencing. All right, let's go to the next question quickly. Are you building or planning to build AI ML infrastructure on Kubernetes? I don't know what happened to my fourth one, why it is item 4, but let's stick to first, second, and third. Okay, good to see that there are plans of using Kubernetes for AI ML infrastructure. And the reason I wanted to ask this particular question because Kubernetes has been a solid foundation to deploy any cloud-native applications. And we are now seeing that Kubernetes is also going to be one of the leading platforms to run AI ML infrastructure. And so as I can see, there are many people who are planning to use Kubernetes for AI ML infra, and many people are already using actively Kubernetes for their AI ML. So that's great. One last question. This is just a fun quiz. Anybody over here saw the announcement from Google? They just launched a quantum computing chip called Willow. And the question is, how long does this new chip take to solve a quantum sampling problem, which the regular super fast supercomputers right now takes septillion years. Septillion is, I think, 1 with 27 or 30 zeros. So just quick guess. I don't have a prize at the end of it, but it actually is 5 minutes. The new quantum computing chip, which Google just unveiled, I think, day before yesterday, it takes 5 minutes to solve the quantum computing challenge question, which a regular supercomputer right now takes septillion years to do. So the prediction is it's not there yet, but by about 2030, the quantum computing would be able to break AES 256-bit encryption. So any kind of SSL security which we are doing, all of that will be broken by then. So by then, we'll have to figure out new ways to do it. Going back to my talk track, hopefully that was interesting tidbit to kind of keep this exciting and interesting. A little bit about me, very quickly. My name is Mayuresh Krishna. I go by MK to make it easy. I'm co-founder of Initialize.ai, and I'm on X at Mayuresh Krishna. I've worked previously with VMware Tanzu and Pivotal. The outline is we'll talk quickly about model serving on Kubernetes. We'll touch upon Kserve specifically as a project which you can use on Kubernetes to serve and inference any kind of models, any kind of AI models. We'll get into the Kserve LLM runtimes, how Kserve supports and helps large language model, what kind of runtime it uses, and how you can leverage Kserve LLM runtimes on top of Kubernetes to serve any kind of language model, essentially. We'll touch upon Model Car OCI, what it is, and how it helps the large language model inferencing and kind of enables its performance. So as you might have, and I see there are a lot of data science engineers as well as AI/ML engineers in the room, model serving is an integral part of machine learning lifecycle. So after you've done your training, you'll deploy that model, and then the inferencing of that model is something which you would use with other applications. The challenge is, if it takes you too long to build your ML infra to run at scale, the AI world is moving so fast that 1 hour over here is about 7 years on Earth. So approximately, if you're spending a month to build your ML infra, or essentially deploy your models, language models, the language models are moving at the pace of where the model which you use to deploy is no longer current. As well as you're fine-tuning your models on the basis of these foundational models, those need to be updated quickly as well. So your ML infra needs to move as fast as the AI is progressing in the industry at this point. And that's where model serving comes into play. If you think of it, deploying the model as the model serving within Kubernetes can be also almost treated as a microservice, where the common strategy is you do the similar construct, you deploy a model with an interface which can be consumed through an API. It could be REST API, it could be gRPC-based endpoints. It kind of mirrors the similar deployment strategy which we have been using with applications. So that's one of the biggest reasons Kubernetes really fits well in the construct of deploying and running your ML infrastructure. Some of the considerations which you would have while serving your models is like, how do you containerize these models? What's the best way to do it? What's the efficient way to do it? Are the inference response times on Kubernetes as containers for these models good enough? Are they acceptable? Can they compete at the speed of what you are getting from OpenAI or some of the managed services from cloud providers? And one of the other challenge which is there, the data science engineers build their models based on the runtimes they are using. They could be using TensorFlow, PyTorch, ONNX. So there are several different frameworks and model formats out there. How do you support that across your cluster? And that's where Kserve comes into play. It's a highly scalable, standard-based model inference platform. It's performant, it's standardized inference protocol, makes it very easy for essentially supporting all the different types of ML frameworks. You can actually build it as a serverless inference engine. So you can have your large language models come up and serve and consume the resources on the compute side. And then when nobody is actually using or inferencing from that model, it can scale down to 0. So you can save cost on the GPU usage. And essentially, it also supports constructs like pre- and post-processing of things around the model that you're trying to deploy. So you can have pre-processing guardrails, like I want to stop prompt injection on the language model I'm trying to inference. So it enables everyone or who are using Kserve to drive a lot more customization with all different kinds of ML runtimes on top of Kserve. And if you look at the layers of it, some of the layers are very basic common layers which most of you might be already using. Everybody's using Kubernetes at this point. The Istio is pretty common in the Kubernetes ecosystem at this point. Istio is the one which is being used to auto-scale and scale down to 0. So this makes it very close to what most of the Kubernetes engineers are used to. So you can easily get started with Kserve and run any language models on top of Kubernetes. So this is a quick example of how Kserve helps. If you look at it on the left side, which is the admin side of the configuration, the Kserve admin or Kubernetes admin can set up the runtimes which are available on the platform on their clusters. They can set that up with some of the basic default constructs. And they can also say that this particular runtime, Kserve sklearn server, is supported. It has also an auto select on it for the supported models. So the users can come in, and it could be as simple as few lines of YAML code to say that I want to run this particular model with Kserve. So I can come in and say I want an inference service. I'm using sklearn as my model format. Where is my model? It could be in a storage URI. And then in this case, I could even skip the runtime, because if the auto select is true, as long as I choose that my model format is sklearn, it will automatically choose this cluster serving runtime. So it makes it very simple for the data science engineers to consume Kserve as a platform and deploy their models. And as platform engineers or AI/ML engineers who are using Kubernetes as the platform to run this, you can set this up with different types of ML runtimes as your configuration on the cluster. Quickly on the, as we saw, we were talking about the sklearn model runtime, but for LLM specifically, Kserve supports two types of LLM runtimes. One is Hugging Face LLM serving runtime. You can easily use that, and in the backend, it can use vLLM. vLLM is a very strong and community-supported project for LLM inferencing. It is very famous for its inferencing speed. You can also use Hugging Face Accelerator as your LLM runtime under this runtime. The other one is TOTServe LLM runtime, which Kserve supports, which essentially uses TOTServe to inference and run your LLMs. The good thing with the Hugging Face serving runtime with vLLMs is there are certain types of ML tasks which are there out of the box. So you can do things like text classification or token classification, text generation out of the box. And we'll see in one of the demo an example that how you can specify, like, what do you want this particular inferencing to do? And it will bring that kind of interface up for you for inferencing. So let's do a quick demo to see what it looks like. Let's see, is this big enough? So this is my inference service. I'm using Google T5. I'm providing what kind of model it is, the name of the model. I'm providing what backend I'm using. And since I'm pulling this from Hugging Face, I'm pulling this model from Hugging Face, so I'm providing the secret for my model, and I'm telling what kind of model format it is. As soon as I tell it that this is my model format, it is going to use the Hugging Face runtime for running this model. So this is as simple as this to run it. You can specify what kind of resources you want. I'm specifying that I'm going to use 3 CPU and 1 slice of 10 GMIG on a A100 GPU. So that's all I need to provide, and I can get it up and running and consume this endpoint. So let's quickly apply this. So as soon as I apply this, it kickstarts something called as inference service, CRD, on the cluster. As it's going through deploying this, if I look at the pods, it's pulling up a predictor pod, which essentially will provide me an interface where I can do prediction through that interface. Let's also quickly look at the logs. Right, so it is, I think it's up and running now. And if you see over here, and I'll highlight it, over here it loaded a tokenizer, and after that it loaded Hugging Face model from Hugging Face. So if you look at it, it took about 2 seconds to load this. Now, in this example, I'm using Google T5 Small, which is a very small model. It's a probably around 150, 200 GB model, so it doesn't take a lot to pull this down. I don't know how the speed is going to be over here, so I used a small one. So it took about 2 seconds, a little over 2 seconds to pull this model from Hugging Face and then get it up and running. Now I can go in. Let's port forward this, and I'll invoke the API. So out of the box, now I have an OpenAI compatible endpoint, which I can now use to consume this particular inference service. So with that just a simple YAML file with a Kserve set up on the cluster, I have an OpenAI compatible endpoint available to me. So if you're using OpenAI, you can just completely switch to this particular one and start consuming that model. Now, the inference is going to be different because we're not using GPT as the model, but whatever model you choose, you can now get the OpenAI compatible API and response from it. So this one, Google T5 is a translation model, so I can call that model, and now I can get my response from it. It just did the translation in German, and I can see the results of it, how many tokens, how many prompt tokens were there, what was the total token. So that's a very easy way to quickly deploy your inferencing server, inferencing endpoint, and consume it within your own Kubernetes clusters. Now, let's go back to what are the challenges. So Kserve with VLLM runtime, the VLLM runtime takes care of a lot of the performance aspects of running these large language model. It provides you capabilities like tensor parallelism and pipeline parallelism. What that does is, like, if you need more than 1 GPU, which is not available in one node, then you can use essentially pipeline parallelism to run your model on multiple nodes with multiple GPUs. You can do things like CPU offloading, where you can run some aspect of the model in the VRAM of the GPU, and some you can offload to the CPU memory. But one of the challenges which comes is, if you use these models through either pulling from Hugging Face, or if you are in a air-gapped environment, you're pulling it from some sort of a storage backend, pulling these large models could take a lot of time. Like, if you look at it, 31405B model is about 663 GB. 70B model is about 140 GB. Most of the models are, even smaller models are in the range of 2 to 80 GB. So pulling these models all the time from the backend, which is either a storage endpoint or some URI, it takes time. And in this whole process, the network to instance disk movement, from instance disk to loading into CPU RAM, and loading from CPU RAM to GPU RAM, kind of increases the total time to get your endpoint up and running. And if you want to do something like serverless, where you are scaling down your model inference endpoint when there's no traffic, and you want to scale back up, that cold start could take longer because you're downloading a big model file over here. And that's where the construct of model car OCI can play a big role. And it is not a very novel construct. It's simple as that, how about we package our model as a container and pull it in my inference endpoint? And what it does, it brings you the benefits of Kubernetes containers, which you already have. That if you have a model and we have pulled it in a node, now you have it in the cache, and I can quickly reload that model with every pod which is spinning up. So it's as simple as that. Now, instead of pulling it from my storage backend or some URI or Hugging Face or whatever model repository you might have, instead of pulling it as model weights, you can package all the model weights as an OCI container, load that container, push that to your Docker registry, and you can even pre-warm your nodes of the Kubernetes cluster that those model files or model containers are already there. So it reduces your startup time. The disk space usage also gets reduced with the way you can build that model container image, and it overall enhances your performance of inferencing. And with Kserve, it's pretty easily compatible, so you can easily, instead of using the storage URI, which I showed in my last example, you can easily now point it to an OCI registry, and we'll show an example for that. So let's quickly do the demo of the model car OCI. I'm gonna delete this because I did not have a lot of GPUs. They are expensive. And I'll quickly show you what it looks like. So I have a very simple example of like how I've built this container image. I'm just copying all my model weights, which is currently in my models directory, into a models directory within the Docker image. And I'm copying that data over to a models directory. And in my YAML file, I am specifying, it's kind of the same thing which I was specifying in my earlier inference service. The only difference is you would see here the storage URI is now an OCI, the OCI URL. So wherever your registry is, it's going to pull from there. So I can use that to pull my image instead of pulling it from a storage like S3 bucket or somewhere else. I'll deploy this now. Apply -f. So it's doing a similar thing. If I go look at the inference service, it's starting to pull that up. Let's look at the pods. If you would have noticed, last time around, it was there were only 2 containers over here. This time around, there's a third container, which essentially acts as a container which is going to hold the model itself, pull the model container and hold it, and then it gets attached to the container, which is going to run as an inference endpoint, and it can consume the model from that particular container. Let's see how long it takes to pull it. Yeah, it's still pulling it. And this is where you can pre-warm your nodes with that container image you might have. And so that when it is pulling it, it can quickly get it into the node. Okay, once it has pulled the image, it will start creating the container, and I'm getting an OM error. Da-da-da. What happened? Let's see if my node is running out of memory. Let's go and change the memory a bit. Actually, it's going OM, so let me do 8. Let's see if it does work in a few seconds. I'll show you the results of it. But let's quickly go back to the slides. Essentially, I have Q&A after that, but let's see if I can make it work. If you look at it behind the scenes, essentially is a deployment. So let me try to get rid of this one. Okay, let's see if this timer works. All right, it's creating the container. Hopefully this one does not die off out of memory. All right, I killed my node, I guess. Right. So My demo is failing because of out of memory at this point. But essentially, yeah, essentially, when I did this, the model car, when I pull this image out into the container, now the time for it to start that container is not going to pull the image at the time of pulling up the container, right? So now that startup time will become faster. So that's the difference. What model car OCI brings is that if you have the container image in the node, your inference service will basically spin up quickly, and you'll have a faster startup time. So that's the overall talk. And as you saw, the demo gods were not good on the model car demo. We have like a few minutes, so we can have some questions if you have any Q&A. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Right. Sure. So the question was that if the image is in the node, how does it get loaded into the container? And that was the piece which we saw. That when you did it with the model car, or your container or your inference service with the model as an OCI image, you had 3 containers here. So it actually pulls the model weights into a container itself and attaches that container to the main inference container, and it's available as a file path for the inference service to use. So it pulls the images on the node, it brings it into a container itself within the pod, and that basically container becomes available to the inference service to consume the model weights. Yeah, it's like a container which just has the model weights in it, which pulled that model weights from the image which you had created. Go ahead. Right, so the way it works is, so the inference service itself is running as a pod, right? And it has multiple containers in it. One of the container in that now is your model's image or model weights, which you created as a Docker image. It got pulled into the node, and that got attached to the pod of inference endpoint, and now is available. And sorry, just to repeat the question, his question was how does it help in now it is as a multiple container, how does it help to faster startup time? Since all of this now is in the pod, when the pod for inference endpoint starts up, it does not have to go to an external server to pull the models. So if you're pulling a 800 GB or a 1 terabyte model, you're no longer pulling it from somewhere outside at the time of when you are starting up your pod. So say your pod scales up, it's doing your inferencing, there's no traffic, it scales down to 0, traffic comes in, it will scale up quickly because all the things which it needs is already there in the pod as part of the container. So that fastens the whole startup time. I think you had a question.
So when the sidecar or I'm guessing it runs as a sidecar.
Yeah, it runs as a sidecar essentially.
Does each of the replica of my inference server will have its own sidecar for this particular model, I guess, unpacking? Will it use additional ephemeral storage per replica, or will that ephemeral storage will be shared across?
The ephemeral storage is shared. So the pod, the container which is coming up in that pod is actually doing a file path to the ephemeral storage where the model is stored. So it's sharing that ephemeral storage across the different instances of inference service. That's one of the reasons it's also saving the space or disk space of the overall nodes. Versus if you pull in each of the pod from the external storage, you're going to pull it within the pod, so you're going to use the storage in each of the instances. So it saves your overall ephemeral storage as well.
Is it creating a host path volume?
Yeah, it is creating a host path volume. Yeah, go ahead, and then.
So this particular solution caters to the time that it takes to pull the image.
Yes, so using the Model Car OCI, it primarily caters, and the question was that does this particular way of doing thing caters to the time of pulling the image. It actually caters to the time of starting up the pod when you are running that pod and scaling down and scaling up. So at the first time when you spin up the inference service, you still have to pull the image to the node or pre-warm the node. But after you've done that, it quickly spins up the pod.
What about the time it takes to load the model onto the memory?
My time is up. That well, I can finish up that question, and then we can go outside and talk a little bit about it. Loading it to the memory, it's now loading it from the file path which it already has. So it's almost equivalent to it, the model weights are available to it locally. So whatever time it takes, that will still be there. All right, thank you, everyone. Hopefully this last talk was good enough to end the KubeCon on a good note, on a high note. And thank you for listening.